Well, as promised, I went through and I rigged everything I could rig without that top center section on. It just made it easier. So I'm just trying to point out where things are. There's lots and lots of rigging out in this sucker. But they all make sense where they go. And again, if you take one thing at a time, it's okay. And I'm just trying to show you there's stuff on the underside, or the underneath the nacelles, and on top and in between. I think the only things left now when I put the top part on is going to be one more that's going to be between those inner struts and the fuselage, and the top wing, the bottom of the top center. But you can see how much rigging there is. But again, it wasn't hard to do. It just took time. Sit down and do one at a time. And looks good. Looks appropriately confusing. And yet everything has a place, and it really does finish this thing off. You definitely need rigging on biplanes. It's like sailing ships without the rigging. So now, what I'm attempting to do here now is actually glue the silly wing on. And so I just took the glue, and I'm out of frame a little bit here, but I'm just putting thick super glue on one set of 4 strut wires. So just on this set, not on the others, because I found after test fitting, if I just put one set in and glue it, then I can kind of shimmy the other part in. So I turn this thing upside down, I find my holes, and you can see I just basically snap them in place and make sure they're going in, and make sure all the holes are they're full in there. And then I sort of move the struts on the other side so they're kind of at the right orientation. Now I just hold this for a while. It doesn't take too long, but I'm just making sure that the struts themselves are pushed all the way down into the hole as far as they'll go. And again, I've tested all this beforehand. I've tested how to put it in all at once to see if I still have a straight wing and all the rest of it. So here I'm noticing it's actually holding in place, so I just very carefully turn it over. And then I'm going to hit each of those little joints with, or each of those little wires, hit them with a little bit of that, of the accelerant. Now I'm trying here. At one point I was thinking that my wife could come by and hit each of these, but I couldn't ask her. So I thought, okay, I'm going to just try to figure this out myself. And I rolled it over, stayed in place, just checking and making sure it's okay. And now you can't see this, but just trust me, I'm putting a little dot of accelerant on each of the 4 little locations. Locks them in. They're probably in as it is, but now they're locked in for sure. And now half of the wing and the struts are on. So that actually makes it easier for me anyway than trying to put them all at once. Because this fits well, but it does need to be twisted a little bit, forced here and there just slightly. So having one side in and solid was a good plan. So now the idea is to get these things in and get them to the point where they're going to fit. And so I'm just going to, test them a little bit. That's the best place to hold the fuselage, is right by the roundel. And now I'm going to put some glue down on a piece of paper, and I'm going to try to put glue on each of those spots. And what I ended up doing was, in this case, there's my little applicator. I turn it over and I put a little dollop of glue on each of the holes that are on the underside of the wing in this case. I don't put them on the metal, on the wire, just because it seemed to work better that way. And you'll see I reach around here very carefully and I put a little bit of glue on that hole. And then I take another dollop of glue and put a little bit on that far hole. And then in the front, same thing. Then I will grab this whole structure and basically put the strut metal parts down into those holes. So once those are all done, you just got to make sure you don't hit anything on the way around or hit some other wires. But there I got them all in. And now very carefully, still supporting everything because the only one side is on. But now I take this and you'll see it kind of snaps in place. I end up basically pushing it into the right holes. And sometimes you use just a finger with one particular hole and strut. Sometimes you can get all four in at once, but I get them close. And that one needed to be shimmied and moved a little bit. But once they're over their holes, they should go in. And then I push down and let it go. And you can see that one of the struts, the rear strut there going up into the top piece, isn't quite flush, but I'm okay with that because when I look, the angle of attack is fine. And so I'm saying that's fine. The real airplane would have been rigged too and aligned, and I'm not too worried that that little piece is sitting there. The important thing is that it's the overall square. So here I'm checking and making sure that it's sticking in there, which it seems like it is. And then to be dang sure, hit each spot with accelerant. That stuff is wonderful because it does glue it quick, it glues it fast, there's no room for problems. It all evaporates there. I try to push that down a little bit, which it would, but then I noticed if it was pushed down flush, I actually ended up putting a twist in the wing. So I just figured, I'll just leave it alone. It's fine. No one's going to know. And there it is. At this point, I'm sort of pinching myself, trying to realize it's actually working. But like that, the center is down the center, which is great. It could be twisted. It could be kittywampus in some way. It isn't. And I'm just looking at it and making sure that things are straight. That little piece did come out, so I'm going to have to add a little bit and put that strut in there, but that's not going to be a problem. That's no big deal. But you can see it's tough. It's strong. Nothing's going anywhere. And importantly, when you look at the wings from various angles, things all line up. Things are straight where they're supposed to be, and they're parallel. You know, the leading edge and the trailing edge isn't crooked. You know, from the top wing to the bottom wing, everything looks parallel and nice. So this is amazing. It's a major hurdle to get this done. You can see the angle of attack is equal. It's the same. They look good. The next things to do are going to be really to, there's not much rigging left for this part, but put in the inverted V's for the cabanes. I got to put exhausts on the engines. And then underneath the wing, there's some, I think, fuel lines that go into the engines and do a couple other things that have to be adjusted and put in. But, you know, heck, that's it, man. It looks really, really good.